So welcome to our DISC profile class. I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day or your evening to be on here. Depends, I guess, on where you live, right? Since we're across the country. For those of you that haven't been on one of the classes that I've taught before, my name is Samantha, and I'm one of the business leaders of Northern Nevada. And I've been in Cooper for almost 19 years. And I've been very blessed in the company, very excited and happy to be here with you guys. So just a little bit about me. I have 3 kids. I always say 17 because he's super tall, and a 13-year-old and a 5-year-old who's on my hip all the time. And I have a husband who works in the prison system, so we are a very busy family. So I see we have another couple people on. Chrissy W., where are you from, hun?
I've been on.
Oh, did I get you already? I did. I just see your face now. Donna Robertson. Okay, see Donna.
Hi, I'm here. I was clicking on the wrong thing. I'm with Robin Sturman.
Okay, awesome. Did I miss anybody else? Lisa, I got you. Okay, so I'm going to go through the slides and what DISC profile is all about. I'm a very big advocate of understanding the DISC profile quiz and the personality styles. I figure that for me, DISC profile is kind of how you tick, how they tick, and how do you tick together, right? So that you can use that in your business, whether it be for your customers or for your host and for your future leaders that you are over or under, however that falls for you. So this has really helped me in my business significantly over the years because it helps you to understand why people do things the way that they do that don't always mesh the same way with your personality. And so it teaches you to be a better consultant, a better leader, just better all the way around. It even helps you in your own personal relationships, maybe with your spouse. You'll want to go home and quiz them, I'm sure, right away. So there is some paperwork that comes with it, so I'm not sure if your leader was able to get that to you, but I'm just going to kind of teach you the ins and outs of it, and there is a quiz that teaches you how to diagnose yourself, because some of us, I'm sure, are really good at diagnosing ourselves, right? When we're sick, I'm sure it's this. I see we have somebody else. Mel, who are you, and who do you party with? What organization?
The New Emergence.
Okay, and what leader is that?
Ellen and the Hot Shots with Stephen.
Okay. I should know that. Okay, perfect. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and screen share to you guys these slides and what this is all about. So this is DISC profile, and there is a lot that comes with it. DISC is just the acronym that it refers to. So DISC, kind of like I said before, talks to who you are, who they are, and how do you tick together, and as it shows here, match all your colors, and more so knowing who you are, because that's what makes life easier when you are trying to blend into different groups. Maybe you're the shy, quiet person that doesn't know how to kind of introduce yourself or stand up at your party or even stand up and do a demo at your organizational meeting and those kind of things. So this will help you understanding who you are. So I want you guys to take a minute and kind of look at this, and I apologize that it's on a screen here versus in your hands, because sometimes it's definitely easier to have the quiz in front of you. Some of you have done this before, but I do know sometimes life happens and it kind of changes a little bit who you are. I always was a high I in this business, and we always say you have your first and you have your second. Most people have a little bit of everything, but you do have your dominant personality traits, and sometimes they're pretty close together. So I want you to take this, and you're going to kind of measure yourself across, numbered 1 through 4, and then you add up those columns going down. So for example, are you more daring or are you more cautious? 1 through 4. So I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes to kind of decide what personality style are you, and numbering it first. So go across horizontally and pick that out. And yeah, you're going to, it means you got to have a notebook in front of you and start writing some of that stuff out and figure out your numbers. And then you figure out your columns vertically of what they add up to. And it's not going to be higher than a 4 on any of these boxes across. And then you're going to add them, like I said, vertically. Hey, Sarah. So if you're just joining us, you're kind of taking a quiz for yourself and seeing what you are personality trait-wise. So you're numbering 1 through 4 across. Are you more daring, you more enthusiastic, more predictable, more cautious? And then once you have it done across, you're going to add your columns up to see which of your columns, how do they rate? And you should come out with 19, 20-ish on each of the columns. Anywhere, well, I should say about 15 to 20 kind of is what I see. And if you're on your phone, I apologize because it's probably super small for you to see that. I'll read them across if it makes it easier for those of you that are struggling and seeing it. I know my eyes are getting older too. So the first across is daring, enthusiastic, predictable, or cautious. Daring, enthusiastic, predictable, or cautious. Number that 1 through 4, each of those. Daring, enthusiastic, predictable, or cautious. The second line is adventurous, optimistic, deliberate, or restrained. Adventurous, optimistic, deliberate, or restrained. I'll read them each a couple of times so that you're having to squint at this here. The third one is decisive, open, protective, or logical. Decisive, open, protective, or logical. And in rating this, I should tell you, rate this on a day-to-day basis, not who you are in business and not who you are in your personal life. We should always be who we are, right? So this is who you are all the time. The fourth one, are you more assertive, talkative, stabilizing, or precise? Assertive, talkative, stabilizing, or precise. The fifth one across is restless, emotional, modest, or courteous. Restless, emotional, modest, or courteous. The next one is competitive, persuading, easygoing, or consistent. Competitive, persuading, easygoing, or consistent. And the last one is experimental, sensitive, sincere, or a perfectionist. Experimental, sensitive, sincere, or perfectionist. So as you've added up each of those columns, or put your number next to each of those words, we'll say, then you're going to want to add up each column to get your bottom number for each column. And you'll have your more dominant, and then you'll have your least of what each of these are, and then I'll tell you what it means. And I'll make sure that you guys all get the paperwork. I'll get that posted to your business leaders so that you can have the paperwork in front of you. Sometimes it's kind of fun to do this with your spouse, your significant other, or with your mom and dad or your kids. If you have grown kids, you always go, I knew that's why you were like that. So I'll give you a minute, let you finish that up. For those of you guys that are on, if you'll give me a thumbs up and kind of leave it hanging, because I'm scrolling through each of you to let me know that you are done with that, that would be helpful too. Thanks, Bridget. Thank Christy. I can only see parts of you guys here, so the ones I can't see your faces, I'm just going to have to assume that you're good. Sarah, you're good. Lynn, are you good? Almost? Okay. You're okay. Tyler, you doing okay? Okay. Mel's good. And Steven's good. Okay, so we'll get a bit. Oh, and there's Donna. Hi, Donna. Donna, you're good? Okay.
I'm not understanding how we're actually supposed to do this. I'm looking at the example, and I was putting it in order by columns. How do we count it up?
So you want to do, you scored yourself 1 through 4 across for each of those 1 through 4 just across. Then you take each column, the columns 1, 2, 3, and 4, and add up each column. So you should come up with a number anywhere from, let's say, 13 to 27 per column. And then that will tell you what you're more dominant. So your highest rated, maybe your highest is in column 1. So that would make you, I'll tell you guys while we're waiting here a second, if your highest column is column 1, that's a D. If your highest numbered column is column 2, that's an I. Column 3 is an S. And column 4 is a C. And I'll tell you what each of those means. Okay, so I'm going to switch screens here for you, and know that this is recorded so you guys can come back to it, and there will be paperwork with it. And I'm happy to answer more questions for you along the way, okay? So like I shared with you, each of what these columns are, D stands for decisive competitor. They're the person who is very competitive with everybody, but mostly themselves. They're goal-oriented in a way that they want to hit their goals, but for themselves. They want all the gifts. So if you think about our weekly challenges, right now we have luggage. This week you can also earn your Brownie Wise water bottle. So we have people who are very competitive to get those gifts, not just to beat somebody else, but because they want it for themselves, so they're beating their better, beating their best. The I personality is the influencing socializer. They are the life of the party. Everywhere we go, we're going to have a good time. I don't really care what's happening as long as I'm happy and there's a party, right? And that's typical for an I. They're the ones that you have to keep their attention often, especially at a party or in our rallies and things like that, because they need interaction all the time. Your S is the mama hen of the group, and often the dad as well, as we know lots of dads stay home, as I see that happening right now. So they are often the person who keeps everybody happy. They don't want any confrontation. They want to make sure everything is good. So that's our S personalities. And then our C is that person who dots their I's and crosses their T's, and they will point out to you if you didn't do it yourself. That's typically your C. They're the super organized person. Everything is planned out. Everything is color coordinated. So I'll go through some of what each of those mean for you, but understanding, and I'll read this out loud because I know some of you guys are listening versus being able to see it. So understanding personal styles will help you in your family life and in your business because A, it gives you a conscious awareness of why certain people behave the way that they do. B, because it helps you predict that what people are likely to do in any given situation and why. You often, I will tell you, learn somebody's personality style the easiest when they're under pressure. For lack of better words, if you back somebody up against a wall in a critical scenario, let's say, that's when you find out who somebody really is by their reaction to things. C, it helps you learn to accept and relate to others, which improves helping and teamwork. And D, it helps you to create an environment where others find their own motivation. Many people think leaders motivate people, but the truth is you can't motivate anyone. They must be able to motivate themselves. When you understand the factors that do motivate someone, given their style, you can push their hot buttons to create that fire within. And not in a bad way. You just know what kind of carrots to dangle in front of your host or your consultants to drive them towards something that they're wanting to have. So here's a little bit about what DISC means and the breakdown of that. Oh, let me go backwards. And so in that you have D's that are result oriented, I's are enthusiasm oriented, S's are very supportive, and C's, like I said, are very big on accuracy. Where you start to see crossover is D's and I's like action. They like busyness, that nothing boring. I got to keep going. That snap in your fingers, let's keep it going. I's and S's like collaboration. They're the people of the business. They like to be around people. They like sincere, genuine people. Your C's and your S's like stability. They don't like a lot of change. And we know in our business, the one thing we can count on is change. And so S's and C's need help in overcoming that. And your C's and your D's like a good challenge, whether it be to compete with others or to compete with themselves. So that just gives you a quick synopsis of that. I'll leave that up for a second if you want to take a picture of it, because when you are trying to understand what people are and what they do, this is a quick, easy way of, do they like busyness? Do they like things slow-paced? You know, that kind of thing. And do feel free to take a picture of any of the slides, because sometimes when you've had the class and you want to think about it again, you got to go back to some of that stuff. So this one's a little bit harder to read even for me. But like I said before, D's and I's are active. S's and C's are reflective. I's and S's are people focused. D's and C's are task focused. So let me go to an easier screen here for you guys. Personality styles based on natural behavior characteristics. Your D's are dominant and determined. So they like control. They're decisive in action and decisions. They're independent and competitive with their others, but also themselves. They are strong-willed and direct. So if you have somebody who's really direct and they say something that you think, oh, I wouldn't have said that like that, just know it's their personality. It's not because they're trying to be a jerk. It's just who they are, and how they maybe were brought up, or how they are in general. They like maximum freedom to manage themselves and others. They do have a little bit of controlling issues. And they're very outgoing and optimistic often, because they believe that things are going to happen, because if they don't have somebody who's going to do it, they know at the end of the day they can only rely on themselves. They do like immediate results. They don't like to sit around and wait for things to happen. They accept challenges. They take authority versus take authority from others. They dislike inaction. They do like everybody to be doing something. And for other words, they don't like lazy people. They are quick to make a decision and take action. They concentrate on tasks and question the status quo. They're never a status quo person. If it takes $2,500 to be a manager, then I'm going to double that. I'm not going to be status quo. I don't do minimums, is their mentality. And they have very good administrative skills because they're bossy. Where I's like involvement, they're spontaneous action and decision making. They're the person who you can call at the last minute often to have a quick get together or to do a training for you. If you're a leader and you want to do a team meeting, they're that person you can call. Or, hey, we're going to have a potluck. Can you bring this? They do those kind of things. They're stimulating, talkative, and quick paced. They're the person we have to remind that God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, because they do tend to talk over people, and that's just their personality. It's who they are. They're gregarious and the life of the party often. You can always count on them. So if you're the quiet, shy person, don't worry, there's an I around you that will keep everybody going so you don't have to do it. They tend to exaggerate and generalize. It's kind of like that old game we may have played as kids, telephone, where you tell a secret and they tell a secret and then they tell a secret, and by the time it gets back to the original person's story is totally different because there's a few I's in the middle that change the whole story. They jump from one activity to another, so they need to have a focus. They need to have a to-do list, or they get, excited by something shiny and they move on to the next thing. They are exciting and excitable, so they're always a good time. They dislike being alone. They are not the person who goes shopping by themselves or comes to a meeting by themselves. So when you meet that personality and you've invited them to come to rally and they say, I don't know, I don't want to come by myself, get them to bring somebody with them or offer to pick them up and bring them to rally. They make friends easily because they are so much fun. They're very good on stage, so you can always count on that. They're creative and imaginative, enthusiastic about almost everything, and their inspiration charms others. They have very good persuasive skills also. So when they don't want to do something, they're often good at getting other people to do it because that's who they are. So an S likes close personal relationships. They tend to be the person who maybe has their friends all on one hand. They don't have a lot of outside friends because it's just not their personality. They support and actively listen to others. They are definitely that genuine personality who listens with both of those ears and pays attention. They're never pushy. Oh, I skipped one. They're calm, cool, collected, patient, and well-balanced. They're never pushy, which can be a downer in your business because they're the person who says, come to my party, but you don't have to buy anything. And you kind of want to smack them around because that's the point of having the party, right? Is everybody buys, but they're the one who says it's okay, you don't have to, and then there's no sales. They work slowly and cohesively with others, agreeable and considerate, slower paced at taking action and making decisions, which is okay because some that are quick paced tend to make too quick of a decision and it's not always the right one, where S's need sometimes someone to be a little bit pushier with them to get them moving. Got to make that decision right now. It's the close of the month. What are you going to do, right? Since we're all there this week. They are very loyal and dependable. Always can count on your S's. They dislike interpersonal conflict. Approaches risk very cautiously. They're not the person who's going to jump out of the plane, for sure. They approach risk cautiously. They share personal feelings and emotions, sometimes too much. So be ready to listen when you're talking to that S personality. You need to double your coaching time with them because they take a little bit longer, and that's okay. They have excellent ability to gain support from others because they are so kind, and they have good counseling skills. They're usually the person everybody opens up to because they listen and they do genuinely care about others, where the quick-paced personalities tend to be too quick-paced to hear what somebody has to say. And then lastly, your C's are like organization and structure. They're often the teachers of the group. They dislike too much involvement, so they are the person who kind of sits at the back of the bus and doesn't pay attention to everything because they just want to do their own thing. They want to be right and therefore over-rely on data collection, so they're the person who relies on the computer, but often computer isn't always right? They are serious and purposeful, likes lists, charts, and graphs. So they are the to-do list maker, and they make copies for everybody. So everybody knows what they're supposed to do. They ask many questions about specific details. They comply with authority. So they are the person who always does the right thing and never strays out of the line. They're never in the gray zone, we'll say. It's black or white, one way or the other. They're cautious about their actions and decisions. They're precise about everything, and time discipline. They're the person who's on time or before it's supposed to be on time. They're never late. They follow direction and standards well. They check for accuracy, and they have good problem solving skills because they've already collected all the data and what it takes to get there. Also, other personality styles and behavior characteristics for your Ds. They are the driver, the delegator, the directionist. They can appear testy, and they are the lion of the group. Their leadership strengths are shaping the environment by overcoming opposition. They are persistent, and they are goal-oriented. You always know when you have a D in your team or in your as a host, because they will make their goals. They are the person that you can give them a goal and they're going to go after it. And that's a win-win for everybody. Your eyes are expressive, so they often you have to tell their face to stop making faces. They are the crusader, and they are super salespeople, because I can convince people to do things even when they least expected to do it. They can appear optimistic, so often they tell you things that you want to hear, even if it's not the truth, because they're happy and they're sure it's going to happen, and they're often referred to as the otter. Their leadership strengths are creating a motivational environment, generating enthusiasm through verbal skills. And so they tend to talk a lot, and that can be okay, but know that eyes often, like when it comes to recruiting, let's say, they will talk a recruit into it and get them signed up and talk them right out of it before they even walk out the door, because they over-talked the situation. S, some of you are laughing at that. S's are amiable, accommodators, and team builders. They can appear unresponsive, so they often have faces that you're going, I wonder what she's thinking or he's thinking. They're the golden retriever, so they're everybody's best friend, which can be the demise of their business as well, because they believe in people too much, and we all know people let us down sometimes, right? They also have great leadership skills in cooperating with others to carry out the task and making it happen, implementing plans with people. Your C's are analytical, philosophers, and they are the belt rollers. They can appear melancholy, and they are the beaver of the group. They get the job done. Their leadership strengths are working on methodology and structure, and they are very diplomatic with others, which can also come across very curt. And sometimes you have to go, oh, it's okay that we did that, because they have, personality style differences as well. And all personalities are good and bad in both. We all have differences, right? So here's one that says understanding for effectiveness. And this is kind of what environment do they like to be in, so that you can be more effective with those people. So I won't read through all of these, because you guys we'll get the handouts on this, but just to kind of shorten it for you, D's, the environment that they need to be in is basically that there is an accomplishment, and they are in the controlled environment that they are controlling. They don't often like people to tell them what to do. And if you do, you have to come at them with results and how it's going to happen and how are we going to get there. D's need to be very direct. So they are the person that you can say, okay, so hopefully I don't offend anybody here. I'll say this to Bridget, because I know her. Bridget, it's time to put your big girl panties on. Let's go to work. And she would say, okay, because Bridget's a D. I know that. I've known her for a long time. And she wouldn't take offense to it. Where if I said that to an S personality, they might be crying. So you have to be careful in how do you work with your team members and with your upline and your host or customers, so that they don't take offense to that, even your spouse, right? A D, in order to be more effective with them, is they need a difficult assignment, keeps them busier. They need understanding that they do need people. It's okay to ask for help, and it's okay to take help. I often don't let people help me because they're not going to do it right anyway, so I'll just do it myself. And I've had to learn to get over that. They like techniques based on practical experiences, identification with the group to verbalize the reason for conclusion, and awareness of existing guidelines to be pace themselves and relax more. D's tend to have a little more anxiety because they're go, go, go all the time. Where your I's, the environment that they like is something busy. It's got to be a party. If there's public recognition, that's awesome. They're the ones, if you have I's or you are an I going to Jubilee, OMG, Jubilee is the place for you and for them. So go be the recognition person you want to be and get on stage as much as you can, right? They like freedom of expression. They don't like somebody to tell them they can't say certain things. And they like group activities where people are around and the opportunity to coach and counsel other people as well. To be more effective with an I, they need objectivity and decision making, so they sometimes need help with what to do. And they need participation management because they do get strayed easily. They need to also listen more. S is like a secure environment with the status quo unless there is a secure given reason why it should change and be different. And they like credit for their work that they've accomplished with traditional procedures. To be more effective with an S, they need to know that change is coming, if you can, ahead of time. And they need validation of their self-worth because they are the person of all of these personality styles that beat themselves up the most. They also need guidelines for accomplishing that task and encouragement of their creativity because S's are also very creative. C's need a secure environment of standard operating procedures. Everything is done the way it's supposed to happen and there's no gray lines involved. They are also very much about status quo unless they also can be assured that there will be something more if they push for more. To be more effective with a C, they need opportunity for careful planning because they're going to rely on their data. They need the exact job with clear objectives. So they need that to-do list, those bullet points that they can follow, and they need to schedule those performances that they happen the way that they're supposed to. They also need to develop tolerance for conflict, and that goes for S's and C's, probably really in all personalities because nobody really likes conflict. Everybody just deals with it differently. So in that, how do you combat these personalities under stress? A D is going to dictate, an S will be submissive, a C will be withdrawn, and an S will also be submissive. So how do you manage that? You might say to a D, or a D might say, if you don't like the way that I get things done, then that's your problem. So how do you combat that a little bit? They need to control their situation of themselves and be tangible, have tangible evidence of progress, be more fast-paced and moving toward their goals, and remove any threat to their accomplishment. They are the person that will step over people to finish their goal. Not always in a bad way, but they are on a mission to finish their own goal. And they might say, I don't think you're right. I think you should be doing it this way. Because they believe their way is the correct way. For them, they need to get credit. They need action and interaction. They need a quick pace to keep their stimulation. And they also need to remove any threat to their prestige because they like to be number one for the sake of being number one, not necessarily because they did the work. S's might say, okay, because that's the way you want it, I'll try it just for you, because they want everybody to be happy, so they'll do it for you and be loyal to you even if they don't want to. S's need reassurance that they are liked, they need personal reassurance, and they need to also remove any threat to that relationship because their relationship is far more important than any goal that you could be putting out for them, whether they be a host, a customer, or your consultants. C's may say, I just can't do this the new way, because they don't like change at all. They've done it the same way all this time, so how do I change that? They need to guarantee that they're going to be right at the end of it. They need to understand the principles and the details. They need slower pace for processing the information, and they need to also remove any threat to their accuracy. So there's some different personality traits also in that and how they might appear, where a D is going to be a little bit restless, critical, and blunt. An I will be manipulative, overeager, and impulsive. A C personality might be over-reliant on the data, slow to act, and slow to begin to work as well because they have to think through it and find the data. An S is going to be wishy-washy, submissive, and passive because they do want everybody to be happy. It's just the personality style. So here's a little bit of a quick synopsis. This might be a good one to take a picture of as well when you're thinking about how do you find personality styles quickly when you're meeting people. You can't sit and do a test on everybody that you come across and that you meet. So this might be something that I keep close to me. So that I can go, okay, so I've just met Chrissy. Is she slower or faster paced? Does she seem to like relationships or tasks more? And based on her reaction, a lot of that is in their face. So often when I do a Zoom training, for example, I really love to see people's faces. When I don't see their face, it's hard for me because I'm very much a personality style person, as a lot of you guys just unclick your faces. I'm very much a personality style person. And so when I can see your reaction of your faces, that for me, because I've been teaching this for so long, and Allison Waller actually taught this to me, who's now the VP of the United States. I inherited her business. She taught this to me I don't know, Bridget, how long ago was it? She came along 15 years ago, at least for me. So I learned a lot of this just in people's facial expressions. So a lot of times when you see somebody's facial expression, that tells you a lot of their personality before they ever open their mouth. And so when I teach a class, I often like to see their faces because I know how people are going to react. And you can see by my reactions, I talk with my hands. My face says a lot of things. So you know how people often are because of that. So with your I's and your D's, they like a fast-paced environment. That's where Jubilee is really big for them with the fun night. If you haven't been to Jubilee, y'all need to be going to Jubilee. But when you're in that kind of party environment, how are they? And they like the busyness and the fun music and, what is next? Where S's and C's might have earplugs on, or they can't wait for class to start the next day, where the D's and the I's, especially an I, are like, forget class, where's the party? So it kind of varies for everybody. For a D and a C, the task is more important than the relationship. So they tend to appear that the relationship isn't important, and it is. I promise you that it is. It just doesn't always appear that way because they're more interested in the task that needs to be accomplished first, and then we'll be friends later. So like Facebook isn't a big thing for D's and C's because they are more about what do I need to get done here, where the I's and S's are like, I didn't even know I had a goal this week. I just knew there was a gift I had to earn, or whatever it might be. They're typically the person, the I's and the S's, they know what the gift is, but they don't know what they have to do to get it. The D's and the C, they know what they have to do to get the gift, but don't always remember what the gift is. They just have a goal, a number to hit. For fears, the D doesn't like loss of control, and I doesn't like loss of prestige. S's don't like confrontation, and C's don't like to be embarrassed. Under stress, this is the important part to find somebody what they are immediately if you find them in a stressful situation. D's are dictative and assertive. I's will be attacking and confrontational. S's are submissive and hesitant. And C's are withdrawn and resentful. D's desire productivity. I's desire recognition. S's desire sincerity. And C's desire accuracy. You should never, probably should, relax and be self-paced with a D. I's need to be more, listen more and be more realistic. They're the ones who tell us what we want to hear, but we just really need to hear what we need to hear, right? S's they need to not take things personally. They're the ones who overthink. If somebody looked at them the wrong way or said something. That's why seeing somebody's face is important and not just counting on text messages and instant messenger and those things, because words can be construed so easily. S's need to know from your heart how you're feeling. And that's where phoning is still so important in hearing people's voices and not just texting and instant messenger and those things. C's tend to and need to probably not over rely on their data and their details. Getting security from D's need control, I's need spontaneity, S's need close relationships and just a few, and C's need more preparation. Remember, they're the belt rollers. D's need to be more effective. They need a challenging assignment. I's need freedom to express themselves. S's need reassurance of self-worth. And C's need the opportunity for careful planning. A lot of planning for C's, right? You see that? D's want to be the boss. I's, they just want to be admired. They don't care if they're the boss. Second command is definitely okay as long as you're paying attention to me. S's just want to be liked, and C's want to be right because their data is correct. D's want you to get to the point. Just get to it. I don't have time. Okay, is your story over? I got to go, right? Some of you guys are laughing because you know that's who you are. Right? Stop talking, just get to the point. I's need you to be exciting. You can talk as much as you want as long as you keep my attention. And S's need you to be pleasant. Please don't be confrontational, make me smile, don't hurt my feelings. Where C's need you to be precise. You can talk as little as or as lot as you want as long as the information is correct. D's don't like to be bugged by indecisions or inefficiency. I's don't like routine or boredom. That's why they're really good at the party, because all parties are different, right? That's why they like rally, because rally's always different. That's why your business leader has to put on a song and dance every week, because they got to keep the I's busy and excited. S's need to be, don't like to be bugged by impatience and sensitivity. And C's don't like mistakes or surprises. Don't throw a surprise party for a C. Because if they didn't plan it and it's wrong, they're going to be really ticked off. Where your D's are measured by their self-worth through results, measurable progress. I's are measured, they measure their self-worth by applause, compliments, and recognition. So clap at I's. They love all that excitement. They like to be on stage. Especially with your host, if you can recognize them a lot in front of their friends, that's really important. They're more concerned with how many people are at the party versus how much they spent. S's they measure their self-worth by the depth of the relationship and the compatibility that you've had. Hi. And C's measure their self-worth by precision, accuracy, and activity. D's are motivated by winning. So they don't care if you won or if somebody else did or didn't win. They just care if they won. I's like to have fun. You've seen that a lot here. S's like teamwork, everybody together. And C's like playing by the rules. Everybody needs to play by the rules, and you don't go off the beaten path, right? And then, of course, it lists a bunch of celebrities here that some of you may or may not know because some are here with us and some are not. We need to update this to the new age, celebrities, right? Okay, so the next one here is a little bit of a quiz for you to think about what are your strengths. So take a picture of this because this is more so for yourself and how can you go and analyze this a little bit. And I'm going to show you guys just a little bit, give you some words in this, and then I'll read the questions for those of us that are, or those of you that are listening versus watching. So the first question is, list your 3 personality strengths. Because there's no right or wrong personality. Everybody is good. Everybody's different. Okay? Number 2, what actions can I take to develop these strengths? I've always been a person that says focus on your strengths, not on your weaknesses. If you can focus on a weakness and improve it, that's great, but don't spend time there. That just makes you feel bad. Number 3, what are the 3 areas that I want to improve about myself? You should always be focused on improving yourself the best way that you can. Number 4, what are the 3 actions that I can take to improve myself? Right now, I'm on a big mission to lose a bunch of weight. I leave for LA tomorrow. I have business leader meeting next week. I have my 20-year high school reunion in a few weeks. And I have a twin sister who's smaller than me, so I'd like to be smaller than her. We have Jubilee with Gala Night, which is the absolute worst for me. I don't like to find dresses. I used to do pageants all the time, and you'd think that'd be easy for me. I have a closet full of dresses, and I don't like shopping for dresses. But I'm very picky about myself. So my goal right now is to lose at least 20 pounds more. Oh, and I'm going to Hawaii. Thank you to Tupperware. So I have to get in a bathing suit too. That's even worse than gala night, right? So I have a mission. So what 3 things can I do to improve myself? Get more sleep, eat healthier, and get on my elliptical every day. That's just a personal goal, but what can you do both personally? Because you got to always take care of yourself. There's that old saying, happy wife, happy life. And I know we've got some guys on here too. Just take that to note. Happy wife, happy life. And your wife will always be happy, right? You guys know that. But when we're taking care of ourselves, then everybody's happier because we're happy. And so always when you're making goals, make sure there's some personal goals in there as well, because you always want to improve yourself. I know when I am dressed up and I'm doing something, or I'm going on a date with my husband, it makes me feel good. So, but I need the money to be able to go on those dates and say, babe, I got this one because Tupperware paid for it, right? I mean, how excited do you think he was when I said we're going to Hawaii, and I told him the week of Christmas and said Tupperware's paying for it. And we have enough money to take the kids with us. That's what we're doing. So always set your goals a little higher and then put a personal one with it. Number 5, what are the 3 challenges that I'm facing right now in my business? Inactive consultants, no managers, weak party lineup, struggling with host coaching. And then in that, number 6, list the 3 actions that I can take to help overcome these challenges. Number 1, if it's in your business, the first thing should be go talk to my business leader. How can my business leader help me to get over XYZ? Okay. So I'm going to open it up to some questions, and I just kind of want to see, you guys feel free to unmute yourself if you like. And I want to open it up to any questions that you guys have, because I know this is fast and furious. When I teach this class here at home, I do it with recruiting alongside it for our Star Trackers. Sarah can tell you that. And we do it alongside recruiting, because in order to grow your business, you need parties, right? And so you need to know, how does my host tick so that I can get her the most bang for her buck? Is she more driven by having a lot of people in attendance, or is she more driven by the goal she's going to receive and all the gifts she's going to receive? And then in that, taking it the next step, when I start meeting people at my party and I'm recruiting those people, what kind of personality style are they going to be? So I know, what carrots do I dangle? Is the Brownie Wise water bottle this week going to excite them? Are they more motivated by their reward and confident start this week and what they're earning? And always know what you can drive them. Maybe the gift doesn't motivate them. We a lot of times think that people sign up for the money in this business. Most people do not sign up for money. They say it is, but if they worked for the money in this business, they'd hold more parties. That's the story for all of us, right? Because if money was that important to us, we would do whatever it takes to date more parties. And that's the reality. A lot of people stay in this business for the camaraderie, because we're a good time, are we not? So when you go to your meetings, it's exciting to be there with your girlfriends and your boyfriends and hanging out with everybody. How many of you guys are going to Jubilee?
I am.
Yay! I'm going to see you guys both. You live so far, and I only get to see you on the screen. Anybody else? Okay, so I'm going to challenge the rest of you. What, Chrissy?
I said I just joined like a week ago. I don't qualify.
Oh, go get qualified this week. You'll be fine. Anything can happen. That's my song. Anything can happen. And I know as women, sorry dudes, as women, we will do whatever it takes to do something and make it happen, right? If it's for our family or we want a new pair of shoes, we do whatever it takes to make things happen. Sorry, I'm a shoe fanatic. Bridget, wait till you see my new shoes. I know, you're my girlfriend.
That's why my wallet stays empty.
Yeah, right, because you're married and you have children. Yep. Because us women figure out whatever it takes. That's why he's doing Tupperware, because he's got to make more money, right? But we do whatever it takes. Well, you're going to find personalities like that. So a lot of times you will recruit people who are very much like you. It doesn't happen as often until you start growing so big and recruits are recruiting people, that you will start recruiting people that are different personalities than you. So with Jubilee, and why I brought that up is, yes, Kathy, Jubilee is at max capacity right now, but I can tell you from experience in 19 years of going to Jubilee, people cancel every day. So go get your name on the waiting list. If you want it bad enough, you will be there. And if it stays at max capacity and you wanted to go but you can't, get ready for next year. Because to register for next year, that will open up this August. And if you want to go, you'll have that opportunity to be able to go and qualify it immediately, right? And there's still lots of those opportunities. Or maybe it's the next thing. You guys, you know, it's the end of May. Here we are, the close of birthday month. If you've been around for any length of time, you know that's a big deal. If you're brand new, Chrissy, then it's a big deal, and you'll learn of all of our big months to come, right? And so what can you do for your future in this business? How many of you guys would love a cash Christmas or to go on a summer vacation with your family? When I suggested to my husband that we take the kids with us to Hawaii, my husband will do anything for our children. He will lay in front of a bus like so many of you will, but my husband works 16-hour days so my kids can have whatever they want, which is not always good. But he said, yeah, let's take them. And so we worked hard to make sure that that could happen for us, and so did I. And that is just something that we went after. If you want the same thing in your business, how many of you guys would love a free trip to go to Hawaii, right? Tupperware can give you that free trip, a trip for two to Hawaii when you step up and become a director. If you tell yourself you can't do it, you're right. If you think you can, because it can happen for anybody. When I was introduced to this business 19 years ago, I said, that is stupid. I am not going to be a Tupperware lady. I'm going to go get a real job, and I'm going to make good money. And here I am 20 free cars later. Never would have ever imagined. And our organization, Divine Enterprises, you'll see us in recognition. We're top 3 growing in the country right now. I was on that trip with Allison Waller in Zion for being one of the 12 selected to go. I never in a million years would have thought that I would be in this position today. Bridget's known me since I was a baby in this business. We've known each other. I think who you recruited me, and then I recruited somebody, and then it shifted, right? Yeah, because she used to live here with us. So things change and happen all the time. If you want it bad enough, you'll figure it out, I promise. Because it can happen. And on the days that you're feeling down and I'm not sure, pull out your personality style, give yourself a smack in the face and go, what am I supposed to do to make sure I keep going? Because sometimes we need to be reminded of that. And find yourself a buddy who keeps you accountable. Tell somebody what your goals are. Tell somebody what you want in this business. And they'll keep you accountable if you let them, because that's a big part of this business. So I'm going to open it up. Do you guys have any questions, comments, concern, cry of relief about this personality style stuff or anything?
Thank you very much, Samantha.
You're so welcome, Sarah. Thank you. Yes. Christy, did you have a question?
I typed it. Sorry, multitasking.
Oh, okay. Let me look
so
at
people keep saying about recruiting and stuff, and I just started, and I don't even know how to fully submit this order that I'm doing for the first time today. Like my first party.
Good for
so
you.
It's like, how am I supposed to recruit people if I don't know how to do this properly? And it keeps saying error, you did this wrong.
Okay, so let me give you a couple.
So how long do you usually recommend? Like, because
for recruiting,
when you first start,
recruiting
ridiculous.
can happen right away. We say dating and party planning, and parties are a skill. That's something that you learn as you go. So we say earn while you learn, because you're constantly learning new things. But recruiting is a feeling. If you love what you do enough, even when you don't know what you're doing at all, you'll recruit. Because you're.
I only mean because like my recruit, I picked her specifically because I knew how well she does it. Like Good. She knows exactly what she's doing, and I didn't want to like sign up under somebody who doesn't know what they're doing and can't help me when I text them at like 2 a.m. You know?
What I'll also tell you is, as far as the skill building side of things and how-tos, doing your orders and dating and those kind of things, there's all kinds of videos in your back office from Cheryl Smith, and she can help you with that stuff. So go back, and then in the search button, look for some of those stuff, and it will help you as well. Okay? But recruiting is a feeling. If you love it, you'll figure it out. I promise. Because people want to be a part of whatever you're doing. They don't care. You're exciting. Any other questions?
Yeah, with me, recruiting came easy. They came to me because they wanted to join and everything. So now I'm just working on my 1,500, and I got about 1,000 to go yet. So
You can do it. You can do it. You know, Steve, I'll admit, anytime I ever see a Tupperware man doing a party or a demonstration, I want to watch. Because this is a women business. Stereotypically, it's a women's business. So when a man is doing something, I'm like, let me see what he's doing, because people are naturally excited to watch. If you've ever watched Kevin, who's on the front of our catalog, he's a good friend of mine, ever do his parties in drag, you're naturally wanting to see what he's doing because it's different, right? Or Oscar, his recruiter, also Quesadilla, also a good friend of mine. I watch him all the time. I love watching both of them because they're dudes. And so I want to see what they're doing different. Granted, they do parties very different than a lot of us. But I do like to see. I have a couple guys in our organization here, and I love to watch them do stuff because it is different. So congrats to you, Steve. I know you'll make it happen.
I have a friend of mine too that Dixie Longate.
Yep.
Does. He does that in drag, and it's just hilarious.
Yes, that's Chris.
He's online and on
signed up
YouTube.
with all of those guys at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big thing when guys do like things that are traditionally done by women. My boyfriend started selling that jewelry stuff, and in one day he sold like 500 pieces.
Right.
The Judy looked like something from Duck Dynasty, and they were like, "What?"
Well, if you think about it, Tupperware is notorious for being a women's business. So think about politics, which I never bring into my business, right? But when a woman tries to step up and start doing politics, men are like, whoa, 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 whoa. But everybody else is watching. It's the same kind of thing. When a woman is doing a man's job and a man is doing a woman's job in the stereotypical world, then they want to see, how are they doing that? You're intrigued. And that's normal. So I like it. I say the more the merrier. Everybody's welcome. Yeah. Any other questions, comments, concerns, cry of relief? Cute little babies. Well, thank you guys for joining us tonight. We are at our hour, so I appreciate you guys being on. I will make sure that your business leaders have all those handouts so you can have the paper form in front of you and look at that. In the meantime, you have your screenshots. So thanks for joining us, and I'll see you guys all next time. And those that are going to Jubilee, I'll see you then.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the training.
Thank you.
Thank you.